Well, good morning, everybody. Happy. Oh, there we go. Well, I was just going to say, let me just turn off this. There we go. We'll turn off this banner. And Candice, man, Candice from Mountain Finance. Happy Turkey Day. I think a lot of people had turkey yesterday. A lot of my friends I had messaged were having their turkey yesterday, but maybe it's today for you. If you're having it today, happy Turkey Day. If you're having leftovers, even better. I think leftovers are better. But welcome. Nice. Thanks for joining. Not much obviously happening in Canadian markets today, but I figured to still come on and say hi to everybody. That's kind of the goal with the live stream. See how everybody is doing. What's maybe your plans for tomorrow? I had the dividend come through from BTC.Y over came through on the weekend, I believe. So that will get reinvested tomorrow. It's always there's nothing to do when I don't have any US holdings in US stocks. I have them in my ETF, but so I can't really do much. Yeah. So the TSX is closed. So day off, no day trading today, Candice, unless you're going to be hitting the States. I don't know if you're doing that yet, but we'll see. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of nice that things are close. So you don't have to worry about things, and you don't have to necessarily look. Now, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's like day to day. You don't even know what's going to happen in the markets these days. It's definitely, if anybody I think has invested for a long time, and if this is when you're if this time right now is if someone has just started investing this past year, this is not normally like this, thankfully. So yeah. If you can stick with it, I think I was reading an article this morning. We can pull this up. Let me just go back to it if I can find it. Some of these articles seem to always disappear. It was actually good news for once. And of course it disappears because there we go. Let me just share the right screen to pull this up. And we'll add that. There we go. So Citibank expects global equities to rally 18% by end of 2023. So that's some good news, right? So if you're investing now, prices, everything's down, obviously. So maybe it's a good time to get in there if you can handle all the volatility and everything else that's happening. This was on Yahoo Finance. Citi expects global equities to rally by 18% by the end of 2023. Just a survey they have there. So if you want to check that out, you can go on to Yahoo Finance. And Philly J, welcome to the channel. I think it's your first time, if I'm correct, commenting. Welcome. Small little channel up here in Canada. I'm not sure where you're from. Let me, if you want to let me know. But we're pretty much all Canadians on this channel. That seems to be most of my audience. But of course, everybody's welcome. We had somebody from Japan yesterday on the channel. What's my goal? My goal, so on the channel, I'm sharing my goal is basically for my TFSA, and it's for my retirement, ideally. And my goal is to, in that account, I have $100,000. Now, there's no time frame for that. Obviously, it would be nice, obviously, as soon as possible. But realistically, it's probably about 10 years away. So we're in for the long haul here. Maybe 9 years. We can see. We'll see. It really just depends on the market, right? And how much I can invest, because there's always things that come up. Which we talk about a little bit on the channel. Philly and from Vancouver. Okay. Oh, sorry, from Toronto. Sorry, I don't know how I got Vancouver in my mind. I was thinking Vancouver because I have to head over there soon. From Toronto, welcome. Yeah, it seems. So Canada's recession for about a year, then recovery. Yeah, I think so. I think everything seems so. I mean, it's a weird time, right? There's so much happening in the world, everywhere, and I mean, rates have risen very quickly, which nobody saw which nobody saw coming, but in hindsight we kind of did, right? Like it's one of those things in thinking, like if we look back to last year when everything was, sky high and interest rates were rock bottom, you look back and you're like, well, how come it didn't actually raise? I think they paused maybe a bit too long, but hindsight's always 2020, right? So I think it's gone up fast, and I think everything seems to be these days like very, very accelerated, if that makes sense. So maybe the recession that's coming will be shorter. It's hard to say. Who knows? But I think we're going to be in for, everything's going to start to really kind of hit that wall come the new year. I think because everything with these rates going up, it lags, right, before people actually, it starts to impact the day to day, which is starting to now, but it's always lagged. Yeah. And then on another article, because you see this, and it's like people aren't right now. Where did we find it here? And I should save these in tabs, but there was an article that I was reading this morning. Let's try and pull it up here. There it is. And it mentions Canadian restaurant traffic on the rise despite inflation. So it's like people are not caring, or so it's almost, the restaurant industry obviously was severely impacted the last couple 2020, 2021 mostly, so people are now starting to dine out and that. But it's interesting because they're still below 2020 levels, but it's come back up. And it says here actually spending at restaurants right now is up 9% compared to 2021. So people are still out spending money, and which will still, obviously, I guess they're not feeling the pinch of rates yet. So hard to say what's going to happen, Candice, but I think you're kind of close. Yeah, I think you're kind of close there. And yeah, so Phil, if you're still kicking around, what's your goal? That'd be nice to hear. It's always nice to hear other people's ideas as well on the channel. What your goal is. Everybody has different goals for what they're saving and what they're investing for. I'm not saving in anything for myself, anything in particular, other than retirement, socking stuff away. It's kind of my goal. There's lots of things I want, but lots of things I don't need. So, and what always puts a crimp in investing and savings? Oh, that's a great question, Candice. I haven't dined out in a long time. The last time, other than like say, it doesn't count, like say when you're like on the road on you're driving somewhere and you're stopping by for like a, something you shouldn't, like a fast food, kind of like something you shouldn't be eating. But dining out, I have not dined out at a restaurant since December 2020. Sorry, I shouldn't lie. One time, at a like sitting down with friends and at a restaurant. I've done a little bit of obviously takeout to go in between time, but December 2020, before because I moved from province at the beginning of 2021, which is kind of crazy. That whole another whole long story, but so didn't go to a restaurant in 2020, and I went to a restaurant back in this summer. It was about probably in August. Went out to a patio with some friends that were in town from Toronto. That's it, twice. So it's been ages. I don't even think about it really. I do enjoy cooking. I don't know if you were on the channel yesterday, but like I was a chef for many years, so I enjoy cooking anyways. And then also for me, it was partly health wise. Stop eating junk food, so cooking from home, eating healthier, and you just start to enjoy it. So a long time. I always talk about it with friends, because you look at what the prices of stuff are, right? Like that's the big thing. The prices of just in the grocery store alone are expensive. But if you look at what you think about what you can buy, and I'm fortunate enough. I think I eat quite well. I'm fortunate enough to be able to, it's not, I don't have to necessarily choose one thing or the other, but I make conscious choices of things that are, if something's too expensive, I'm not going to buy it. I'll just make some alternative. But if you look at what you can make at home compared to that same meal that you would get going out somewhere, it's like more than half. You save more than half by eating at home. If you plan your meals correctly and everything else. So it's a good way to save money by not going out, because you go out for something, and it ends up costing, let alone even if you're not having a drink. I don't really drink, so it's expensive, and that's what I think of. If I make something at home, I think if I had this in the restaurant, it would cost me $30. Whereas you can cook at home and have 2 meals and some leftovers, and for half the price. So live. Yeah. I don't know if the goal of retiring early. No, you always think, I don't know. I always think that, but I can't see myself retiring. I'd love to be, if I was retired now, I'd still be doing something. So you need to do something. You still, but what would happen is you would change with your things. I'd probably, if I, for example, won the lottery or something like that, I'd probably start a business or manage it, like do something like that. I'd still work. But it's good. There you go. It's good that you're in your 20s and on the right track. So excellent. It's good to start early. You'll never be my age and wish you started later. You know what I mean? It's good that you're starting early, even if it's just a little bit. Everybody should. Yeah. And Dave and I said, well, he goes up for chicken wings once a week at least. Yeah, that's sometimes good to go to the pub and have chicken wings, I guess. There's some things that are, yeah, I get it. But how much is a chicken wing now? Like I remember when they starting to sound like my parents. I remember when they used to be able to go for like 10-cent wings, and you'd go for 10-cent, but you'd have a pile of 10-cent wings and a pitcher of beer, and it wouldn't cost you that much money. I don't think wings are 10 cents anymore. More like $10, and you probably get like 10 or 15. Yeah, that's done and funny. But yeah, I'm not a big dino. I was never huge into dining out anyways, but that's just me. But yeah, 60 cents now. There you go. 60 cents. Yeah, used to be cheap. I think, I don't even want to say 5 cent. I've sent 5-cent wings. I remember there used to be, when I was in Alberta and Calgary back in the 90s, there was 25-cent beer. Of the good old days. That's where all my money went in the 20s, so there's Phil, there's my suggestion to you. Stay away from the bar as much as possible. Put it into your RSP or TFSA. That's too funny. That's it. Working for yourself. Yeah. I'm fortunate enough. I mean, I work with another person. I work with a partner. So we kind of do work for ourselves, which is great. And I don't think I could work on, I mean, I do, my thing, Candace, is, YouTube on the side, but I work from home. So I'm so fortunate with that. I've worked from home for, oh gosh, years now, even before before everything. So I'm fortunate enough to kind of I don't make my own hours, obviously, but almost. So it's good. Yeah, Justin. Yeah, loony beer. I don't know what it costs now. It's too much. It's too much. it's even pricey. Like I don't really drink anymore. I shouldn't say I don't really. I don't. Every once in a while, I will. But if I buy I have a 6-pack of beer in the fridge, and it's been there for a month, and I was like, there's still 3 or 4 left. It isn't. I don't really. And I always think, but then when I go buy one, because I think, oh, I feel like a beer today, and you go and you buy one, you're just like, oh, it's expensive now. So that's a good way that you save money. Yeah. Dave, good. Slowly working, adding employment income to investment income. Went full and paying off the mortgage. Yeah, that's probably smart, especially with rates rising. If you have a variable rate mortgage, you definitely want to try and put a lot more towards your mortgage. Then it's probably a benefit. Yeah. But just take a little bit. It's amazing how it adds up. Even if you're only putting in, I mean, like for my TFSA, if I go back on my videos and look at the channel, like it's kind of small deposits, usually a couple $100 a month, sometimes a bit more. Sometimes I'll just put in $100 every couple weeks, but it adds up. Even though it's down, I mean, obviously it's down, but it still adds up. And I kind of think of it, I mean, I always kind of look at it too. I mean, obviously you don't want your investments to go down, obviously. But I think of it other ways. I go like, well, I could be spending this $80 or $50 or $100. I could be putting this on by going out for, like, perfect example, going out for wings and beer or to a restaurant. And I think that money's it's gone, right? So I think, well, I can make a meal at home, take the difference and put it into investment. So it's kind of like, I look at it more that way. I look at when I kind of go through life is the wrong way to do it, but go through day-to-day things. I always kind of think, do I need to really do this, or do I need to really buy this, or should I'll just fire it into an investment, into my TFSA usually. Yeah. One thing I do need to really work on, which I'll start next year, is getting my RSP contribution increased a little bit. Now that I have a bit into my TFSA, which my TFSA is long term, but it's always there to be able to take from if I really need, a rainy day, right? But I do want to still build up my RSP because I do have a lot of contribution room still in my RSP. So that is the goal. But with that comes, I mean, there's other things like my car is almost paid off. It'll be finished in the beginning of the new year, so it's like 3 months away. So I'm going to transfer, instead of paying instead of my car payment coming out every payment, when it comes out, I'll put that same amount. I'm going to start putting that into my RSP to start with, because I'm used to paying it anyway. So why not just take advantage of that? So, and that will kind of build that up. That's kind of my goal. Yeah. A small vacation a month, paying this month. Oh, when the rates were lower on a variable, if they're not changing. Yeah, it's definitely hitting people. We talked about that a little bit with my friend Rob on the live stream last week. Yeah, it's definitely, people are getting pinched, or people renewing their mortgage, right? The rates are up. Or if you have a line of credit or anything, well, everything's more expensive. It's the whole idea of raising rates, I guess, to get people to spend less. Oh, we've got somebody that's buying. There we go. Sharpshooter Wrestling. He's thinking of Coke. Nobody. So far, nobody is. I know Candace was on. I don't know if she's still watching or not, but she's not. The TSX is closed, so no oil day trading for her. Nothing for me. I say it every time. I still have Tesla on my watch list. I haven't bought it yet. I will eventually, but so I don't need to scratch the buying itch today, Sharpshooter, but eventually I will. Yeah, for me, it was there's some, Coca-Cola. For me, tomorrow, it's going to be just rolling in, because the dividend came through from BTC.Y, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked at it's good because it's closed. I haven't looked today. I'll put that into redoing that. And then, oh, you bought some BFE. Yeah. So I rolled, I think a lot of people, because we were watching, they didn't realize the dividends came through. And everybody kind of just did it, did it when they were watching the stream. So that's what I'll do going forward, is getting the fractional shares as the dividends come through. Yeah. Yeah. So that was nice. Whoa, lots of comments coming in here. We'll get to you. We'll get to you. Oh, okay. Some more Coca-Cola. That's good. So everybody's kind of buying a little bit. I'm going to assume do you use Wealthsimple, Dave, as well for the US? And yeah, the dividend was lower. Yeah, it was down. It was down. But I still like it. The price is down too. So that would be a nice one if that comes back. If, when, who knows? I think that has some good growth opportunity whenever Bitcoin decides to do its thing. I think it's a ways off. We'll have to wait for everybody to get ready, wanting to go back into risk assets. So we'll see that start to move once this whole everything sorts itself out. But we'll see everything rise then, right? It's still correlated. So we'll see Bitcoin move and then we'll see equity start to move. And that could pay off. Hopefully. That's the goal, if you stick through it. Yeah, it was down. How much did I get? I can quickly look here. Sharpshooter. I'll do an update video, obviously, but let's just see. BTC.Y 394. And what did I get last month? Oh, it's close. I had $4.20 last month. So 26 cents difference. And so Wealthsimple National Bank. Oh, okay. RSPs. Yeah. So is the RSP like a self-directed there? Or do they have does National Bank have a commission-free, like robo type advisor? That'd be interesting to see. You could check that out. I do have my RSPs in Wealthsimple, so I don't know if I necessarily would move them, but could always start another one to try it out, see what it's like. I've heard a few people, Candace has talked about National Bank as well. I've heard a few people mention National Bank. I should really check that out for something different. It's always kind of interesting. But I do like those BTC.Y dividends. Anybody else buying anything today? We'll see. Coca-Cola's the one, I guess. Let's check out Coca-Cola. What everybody's I was reading on Twitter about everything about that. Sorry, sidetracking from Coca-Cola. It's a PayPal. So PayPal's not doing great today because they had an announcement where they could take if you posting. It was interesting. I don't know. It was really interesting. It was like a if you post, they could basically, they had this misinformation policy where somebody came out with their privacy policy where if you're posting, or they learned you were posting about misinformation, they could withdraw money from your account, which is kind of scary. So PayPal's not doing too great today. A lot of people apparently have closed their PayPal accounts, for what it's worth. Oh, okay. So there's a bit more functionality in National Bank, I guess. Yeah. It's like more full service, right? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so you could do that definitely. I had trades on TSX though, so you'll have to do that tomorrow. But I thought about that as well in my TFSA, but just haven't done it. Yeah, I don't know with yeah, I just haven't done it. I'm kind of just happy with what I have. It's an easy enough to kind of keep track of and without getting too too many positions to manage and pay attention to. Yeah, I just see it's probably not a bad one. I just probably will put more in Bitcoin. I think that's yeah, it's hard to say. I don't think that's a bad choice as well though. Pays good, say similar dividend on it right now. Yeah, we'll see. It's a whole speculative. It's hard to know what's gonna actually happen. It's gonna grow, I think, but who knows? There could be something else that comes up that wipes out. There's always it's like with Ethereum, every new token that starts is like it's like the Ethereum killer, but nothing's been able to do it yet. But if something ever does, then maybe there will be 10 years from now, or who knows. But I think Bitcoin's here to stay. That's kind of why I focused on that. I have a little position of the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, but not the doesn't pay the yield, which I should buy more of that because that's down a lot. But of course, it doesn't pay yield in the meantime, so it's like, why not just put it into one that does while the market's down? I don't know. We'll see. Hard to time these things, or no. That's just kind of my theory. Other than those are the only basically those are the only ones in my those are the only ones in my TFSA. But there you go. See, someone has to buy something. So you have to like scratch. You have to scratch that itch. That's why I think on weekends, like on Saturdays and Sundays, there seems to always be a bit of a move with Bitcoin on Sundays that I've noticed, because I think everybody has that itch to scratch on the weekend because they can't trade anything on the weekends, so they like to get into and do other things, which is weird, but that's just the way it is. I should buy my Tesla today. There's no extra money though, because Candace, I don't know if you caught my last live stream, but when I went to swap my winter tires, I was told that my summer tires were too worn now, so they weren't able to basically, they would take them off, but they couldn't put them, like they're like, we can't put these back on when it's time. So do you want your rims back? And I don't have anywhere to store my rims, so I ended up having to buy tires. So when I switch them back over, I'll have brand new tires, but that means I have less. It's a bill I wasn't expecting to have to pay right now for brand new set of summer tires, which I can't use for 6 months. So we'll see, but I still will get my Tesla eventually, maybe today. And hopefully that's the goal. I guess that's the goal with everything though, right? Is to have more money than you started with. We'll see. Yeah. And Sharpshooter has some Google as well. I've got some Google in my ETFs, but not individual stocks. Yeah. And let me tell you, speaking of inflation, tires aren't cheap. They were more than I was expecting to have to pay. And supply chain apparently getting new tires, even though I'm not going to have them, I guess, I don't know. Anyways, so lots of people, Dave's even buying today, lots of American stocks. It's good. Oh yeah, thanks. Had to watch every minute. Thank you. So for people that are watching, and thanks for everybody that's watching, there's a lot, quite a few 6 people here. That's pretty good. I think it's great. Welcome everybody. Hit that like, of course, I always like to say, if you haven't already. But yeah, 4,000 watch hours. We're getting close. These live streams have really helped. And what I've noticed is it's a lot of we're getting new people that will show up that maybe haven't found the channel. I know. And what's great about it is by jumping on these people that don't necessarily comment on a regular video will jump on the live stream and have a bit of input, and I can kind of learn things from everybody, and it's a great community that way, because I know people that watch videos don't always, sometimes no comment means it's a good thing, as you know, if you have a channel, and it's nice to have the regulars that'll jump in, and new people that are probably lurking and watching, but then decide to say something on the channel. But it does definitely help out, and I knew that from a while ago. Obviously, getting the watch hours is very important to be able to eventually make money, make a little bit of money on the channel. So we're close. We're not. Let me just check here how much I have left here. We're not quite there. Let me go to my tab. So I still need, still needs a bit under 1,500, about 1,400 hours to go for watch time. But what I have noticed as well, Candice, is by putting out live streams, I think my videos are they're getting obviously to a new audience, because I've seen more views and stuff on my prior videos, which is awesome. So people are finding the channel in different ways, which is great. That's the goal. And just grind through. It'll happen when it happens. But the live streams are kind of fun because it makes it's a little bit different. It's not as it's nice to just kind of ramble and hang out when you have time. Spend an hour. I could be spending an hour. I usually read the news in the morning anyways in front of my computer. So I kind of figured, hey, I might as well jump on, read a bit of news, see what's happening, learn a few things. And it's a benefit. So it works out that way. And the live stream helped me finally break my rule of not wanting to buy fractional shares, which I reinvested in my dividends. So I'll start to do that now. And that was because of the live stream. But all views, the views are definitely appreciated. And thanks for watching the replays. I know sometimes live streams aren't as exciting if you're not watching live. I know that for sure, but it's very much appreciated. So sharpshooter, got me into the fractional shares. I guess I could, I don't know why I never did that. This was some weird thing I had. But when the shares are that expensive, but I will surprise everybody one day by finally buying Tesla when it's time. See what happens. It's funny because I don't actually have a desire to own a Tesla, but that's just me. Too expensive. Way too expensive. I guess if I won the lottery, I'd probably buy one. We'll see. Or maybe the truck when it comes out. I don't need a truck though. That's just silly. But not it's interesting when the market's closed. It seems like there's always kind of less I wouldn't want to know how much tires on a big truck would cost. I just have I have a Mazda 3. It's a Mazda 3, and they were expensive enough. I'm not a big car person. I couldn't imagine having a ridiculous car payment. All the smart. If you read all the finance forums, the smart people buy Toyota Corollas instead of fancy cars. I always go price, not price, but you go on. You know how you go online, and this is something that Tesla has a good good website for is to actually build the car. It actually works. A lot of the other ones are just horrible for building. Like a lot of the car manufacturers' websites are just horrible. If you go into, for example, like I really want a Toyota Tacoma. I don't need it. I really like them. If I was to get a truck, that would be what it was. But I go look at them online, and I'm like, I start to look at it because my car is coming up to pay it off almost, and I don't need a new car. But you start pricing it out, and the Canadian websites for pricing out cars are just horrible. Like, I just want to go on there, especially if you're doing on the mobile. It's just like, oh my goodness. It's like pulling teeth to try and price a car out. But anyways, you go price it out, and you're like, you get to the end of the cart and the price, and you're just like, no, I don't want to pay that much for a truck, especially if you can't. I mean, I can't buy it with cash. It's so you look at the monthly payment, you're like, it's not going to happen. And that's where a lot of people. That's where, just with car payments, I couldn't imagine some people having giant car payments on a Tesla. I'd rather have a car payment that's a third of the price, and if I could afford it, and put the rest into my TFSA. It's just me though. Yeah, I think so. It's a tech company, right? It's not a car. I mean, it's a car company, yes, but it's the amount of innovation they're doing with AI manufacturing. It's pretty amazing when you look at what they're actually doing. I mean, you look at the factories, right? And it's literally like these gigafactories where like literally raw materials come in one side and a car comes out the other, mostly built by robots, right? Like it's mind blowing. And they have that new robot they're building, right? And the AI they're using for that. It's just interesting. It's probably the slump. It's probably like a long way, like the technology and it's probably a long way off, but it's probably less than we actually think it's going to be until everything's basically everything done by robots, especially with all the reshoring of a lot of the manufacturing coming back because of supply chain in the world with everything that's happening. We'll see, but yeah, I should just buy one and just let it sit there to see, and then slowly buy into it. How do you buy a car? Yeah, so I mean, everybody's different, right? I financed mine, but it was at the time when it was like, it's like 0.9% financing, right? And so it's kind of like, why not? I would look at it differently now, probably if finance rates are different. That being said, if you need a car, you need a car, right? But I also I'm not a car person, really. I mean, I do really like cars, but I'm a realistic when I know that I don't want to pay an exorbitant amount of money for a monthly car because I don't drive really a lot. It's mostly on the weekends if I have to go get groceries or do something like that, the odd road trip in the summer or whatever, but I don't. So I financed it. Don't buy a car that's too, like, a car. I just think a car is such a waste of money. So I don't see the point of spending all your money on a car. It's just me. But everybody has their thing, right? If you like cars and you want to spend, I mean, go for it. But if it's a tool to get you back and forth to work, or more of a utility that you need to use instead of then just don't buy the most expensive. And I don't think I'd buy a new car again, because the new car thing just wears off so quickly. It doesn't really matter. I'm happy with mine. I'm going to drive mine to the ground, so that's something I don't have to worry. But if I was to get another one, I'd have to finance it. Yeah, because cars are so expensive now. You don't actually have that money necessarily sitting there. But they last a long time. You get a decent car, keep up with the regular service, and it'll last you for ages. It's funny. I think I could probably actually sell mine. The way that I think the prices have come down a little bit though on used cars, but you could probably sell. I could probably sell mine for weirdly more than I have to pay. Well, it's paid pretty much almost done. So I could actually get some extra money, but then you have to turn around and buy a car. So it's like, what's the point? Yeah. I forget, Candace, so back to Tesla. I can't remember. Do you own Tesla? I think you do. I could be wrong. I think you do. Or just oil now. All in on oil. Yeah. What else is happening with the news here? Let's pull up another. I like to try and find good news when we get towards the end of the hour. So maybe there's some good news here. Let's just do a quick search. Of the news, good financial news. So we talked about how the restaurant traffic is up. I guess that's kind of good news. Good news if you're a restaurant owner. See, it's always hard to find good news. So if anybody has some good news, let me know in the comments. Because the news that you read is always bad. Though I think for some good news, I think we'll see inflation slowing when the next numbers come out, which I guess is a good news. Some more good news here. Candace says 5 shares of Tesla. Nice. This is always this hindsight things. I remember looking at Tesla like years ago, going like, oh, I should buy Tesla, because they always kind of knew they're more than a car company, because Elon's out to lunch, and you're like, this guy's probably gonna do things because he's that kind of out there. But I never bought anything. That's always the hindsight. But I think it'll come back. It'll be interesting to see what it does. And I'm still surprised they haven't. I mean, I guess not, but I'm always kind of surprised that they haven't licensed their technology yet. But yeah, but I guess they know what they're doing more than I do. Yeah, they did, Dave. They did backtrack on that and said it was a mistake, right? But it's kind of like, you put it out there. Is it really? Like, you think they think they'd be onto that? But it's interesting. But also too, like following along some of the people on Twitter that have, are posting that they're closing their accounts and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting. It was a pretty quick backtrack, that's for sure. But it just kind of goes to show is where you hold your. And I'm not a conspiracy theory. Don't want to go down that whole conspiracy rabbit hole, but if your money is somewhere that you don't control it, or you kind of do, but it can be taken, right? It doesn't necessarily happen. We always seem to get on this conversation. It doesn't really happen in our country. I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't really happen, because it did happen with banks for over the summer, whether you agree with it or not. What was happening in Ottawa, it happened. So people's accounts were frozen. But if you look at other countries, like is it Lebanon, if I'm not mistaken, where people are literally holding up banks to get their own money out because they can't get their money out. So yeah, so PayPal, I don't know, people, I guess you can talk to all the Bitcoiner people going like, well, this is why you have Bitcoin. So I don't know, not to go down that rabbit hole, because I'm not a conspiracy. I don't know if but just interesting. I think I still have a PayPal account. I used to do a lot of eBay stuff. I used to have an online business that, God, this is going way back. I used to have an online business that I sold iPod accessories. Probably about, oh gosh, when did the iPod come out? This is going back 20 years ago, 15 years ago. But I discovered that there was an accessory for, this was great. This is actually a lot of fun. So when the iPod came out, it didn't have a lot of, like Apple didn't have a lot of connect, like this is going back, way back, but you couldn't connect it. Like this is before like stereos, you could plug in USB to a stereo and all that kind of stuff. So the iPod, you mostly just had to listen with your headphones. But they built, a company that built a transmitter that could clip into the port of the iPod, and it would put it sounds so archaic now. It would put the iPod music through the radio. Like you could choose the channel on the car for the radio, and it would broadcast the iPod playing onto the radio. I forget what it was called. But I discovered that you could buy them in Canada, but there was some regulation with the UK that they couldn't sell these. You couldn't buy them in the UK, but it was so popular. iPods were so popular. People wanted to play music in their car, obviously. So I could buy them here and sell them. I could buy them wholesale. I'd buy them by the case. I'd sell them wholesale on eBay, or I'd sell them on eBay UK for pounds, and make more money than selling them in Canada. And the shipping from Canada, this is what's baffling too, is the shipping of them, because they were small enough to fit in a certain size package. The shipping was cheaper to send to Canada, to the UK, and than it was to like send it locally, like within Canada. So that's what I did so the getting was good there for about a year, and I made a fortune on those things. Yeah. Plus it was also pound converting back to Canadian, which was even better. Must have sold thousands of those things. Yeah. So that's how I have a PayPal account. So I get paid in British pounds. That had to be 15 years ago. Yeah, iPod. The first iPod was only for a Mac, and I think it was around, at the time, it was like $600 or $700 when it first came out. Now they're just like, I don't even know if they still make. I think they still make the iPod. Could be wrong. I think everybody has it on their phone now. That's far before iPod. And there's like no Bluetooth. There was nothing like that. So these little gadgets that I could sell for 30 pounds, or I forget what it was, how much they sold for. I think I bought them for like 10 or 15, and I could sell them for, like, I think I bought them for like 15 Canadian at the time, and you could sell them for 30 or 35 pounds. Yeah. Now people are doing that kind of stuff on Amazon and stuff like that. Buying product from China and selling it on Amazon. But before Amazon, this is even before Amazon. I think Amazon sold books back then. You had to do your own eBay. Like I had an eBay store. Yeah, kind of fun. And then I had back with iPods. You remember the commercials for iPods? When they would come out, they'd have a new song for the commercial, and the song would always be a popular song that they would play. And they'd always have a new commercial, like every couple months or every month they'd have a new, and everybody would be searching for what was the song in the iPod commercial. So I had a website that was hooked up that was optimized. So when you searched basically what's the song, and like what was the song in the iPod commercial, it would take it to my website, and I had all the songs listed, but they were all with affiliate links to the iTunes store. So if someone went to the iTunes store and they bought the song, I'd get a nickel. And that was actually good for a while too. Yeah, that's kind of funny. All these old little businesses, little side things. That stopped because actually their Apple's marketing kind of shifted for iPods and stuff like that. But then the website got it was kind of fun. So I'd get a nickel. And it's funny because my brother is in the music industry, and I actually made, like, the artists wouldn't even get necessarily that much, but I get it from the affiliates. So they'd click over, they'd buy the song, but you'd also get a nickel for every other song they bought. So if someone went through to iTunes, bought that song, I'd get a nickel. But if they bought other songs in that same time, that same cart, basically, I'd get a nickel for songs. So you'd log in every day and check your iTunes affiliate account, especially, and it was always like, as soon as there was a new iPod commercial, I'd be like, yeah, because it would always be like a flood going on there to search for it. So yeah, good old internet days. What else did I have on there? So I had eBay store. I had the iPod store. Sold lots of iPod accessories. That was the one that I talked about that really was good. But the problem with that, and this is why I stopped, is they had a lot of accessories, but it was hard to find what happened. There was like a whole other economy, right? The whole like iPod accessory economy started, and it was hard to know what was going to be the popular one. And so what would happen is you'd have to buy product, but if you brought the wrong color, or if you bought the wrong, if it was the wrong, kind of the wrong thing that was to take off, you're sitting on inventory, right? And that was the hard part. And then also what started happening too is Apple they started putting out like more iPods. So what would happen is you'd have inventory, say for example, you'd have an inventory sitting for an iPod, and then they released like the iPod mini. So a lot of them, they're not the same sizes and stuff, right? So that's when it got difficult, or they changed the plug or something. So you'd be sitting on all this inventory that was no good. So that's why I partly got out of it with that. It just it was good, and then it got really good, and then it just got too saturated, and then too much change to keep up wasn't worth it. But it was good while it lasted. Lots of little internet businesses. What else did I do on the internet? We need it's funny, Vic is not here. He's learning all about my background. It's too funny. I also used to do, I think a lot of people, when they had websites, they used to do like with domain names and stuff like that. I sold a few domain names as well. Nothing for major, but I had a few that I sold for a little bit. It was kind of fun, just sitting there, and then people would buy them for whatever reason. What's funny enough, what's his name was good with that. Made a lot of his a lot of money on that, and started a lot of businesses with that. Is Michael Saylor. Back in the day, he was big with domain names. It was before my time. I was on the tail end of it, but he had a lot of success with that. But also started up a lot of businesses around them, and then sold them. Back in the glory days. That's how I kind of see digital currency right now. It kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like how the internet was when it first started, as we date myself. But if you think back to the mid to late 90s, with a lot of the stuff that was happening, that it kind of feels the same way now with cryptocurrency and digital currency, at least to me. Oh, you're first to sell. Well, if it's your name, if it was your name or something, right? Yeah. I get offers, not all the time, but quite often. I get offers for my, and I don't think you can sell. I mean, I haven't even looked. I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't get rid of it. But I get offers all the time for my Twitter name. Usually once in a while, it shows up in like the spam side. Someone wants to buy it. Because my Twitter name is my initials and it's only 3 letters. Don't ask me how I even got that 3-letter Twitter name, but I do. But someone always seems to, like once a month, I get some random message. Someone wants to buy it, but I wouldn't sell that. And I have my domain name for my name. But other than that, not the .com, but unfortunately. But other than that, yeah. I'm trying to think. That's probably all the little online businesses I had. And I have, I don't have anything on my website now. Just YouTube. I find more exciting than writing. On my other channel, I used to have because I do a lot of photography, and I used to have a website with photos and stuff, but I find it just too much to manage. You spread yourself out too many places, and you just don't. Everything kind of suffers. So just decided to focus on a couple things, right? A couple channels, and no other kind of social media or anything like that. So you won't find me on LinkedIn or anywhere like that, or Facebook, because it's just like I can't be bothered. And the big thing deciding to go on YouTube for this channel for finance and for investing is I enjoy doing the video aspect of it, and it is a great audience in YouTube, as we're seeing with all the comments and everything else. So that's that. Yeah. Well, we're coming up on an hour. The hour always goes like so quickly. So I just wanted to again thank everybody that's been joining the live streams. We always seem to get a new face, which is nice for people that are that have joined on. And so thanks to everybody. The usual Sharpshooter, Candace, thanks for being able to join on. I know the markets, that's the only way you get Candace on is when the markets are closed. So I know that. And we'll have to maybe have you one day, Candace, if you're still watching, we'll have to maybe have you on the live stream. Maybe, we'll see. Have a bit of a banter. That'd be good. Dave, thanks for joining. First time I think you're commenting as well, but I think you follow the channel. I think I've seen a comment before, so thanks. And Phil from Toronto. Sorry, I keep saying Vancouver. And yeah, thanks for watching the whole thing. Put it on the background, have a listen. And there we go. So we'll figure this out. I wonder if there's a way to do it simultaneous on both at the same time. That would be something to figure out if that's possible. We'll see. We could do a I don't know if you can do that or not. Figure that out. Anyways, that'd be great. Just to kind of have a back and forth talk. We could have a topic about starting YouTube channels and talking about YouTube. Maybe that would be something different. That's always fun to talk about, because I can go on about YouTube forever and do it that way. And I think I got everybody. We had a few more at the very beginning. Justin was here as well. I think maybe Justin's working today, or hopefully everybody has it off. I have a little bit of work to start now. It's 9:30 because I'm taking tomorrow off because I got a bunch of errands to run around and do. So I won't likely be on a live stream tomorrow at the regular time in the morning because I got a lot of running around to do, but maybe in the afternoon I'll jump on and see what's happening. And so Candace, yes, we will do a YouTube topic. That would be awesome. I can always talk about that forever. So we'll try and maybe catch on tomorrow. Markets are open, so hopefully we have a green day. I'm not necessarily optimistic about that. We'll see what happens. But anyways, just I guess slowly dollar cost average everybody, and we hit that hour mark. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Have a great day. Have a good holiday if you have it off, and if you're having turkey today, don't eat too much turkey. Take care.